The Modern Warfare Trilogy. When you hear that, what do you think? You probably think 50,000 people used to live here. Now it's a ghost town. Look at this.
Look at this place. 50,000 people used to live in the city. Now it's a ghost town. Never seen anything like it.
Yeah, me neither. Or Soap's iconic stabbed in the chest, and then he has to take down Shepard. Come on, baby. Take that knife out. Ain't nothing but a flesh wound. This is nothing. Come on. Your eyesight is definitely not going red. Don't worry about it. We're good. We're good. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I used two knives. It's probably hurt like hell right now, but you know, we gotta get the job done. Hell yeah. Let's finish this off, Soap. Come on. You freaking ugly bastard. Freaking die. Yup, right in your freaking eye. Scum. Now I can rest in peace. Dying on my one of my favorite maps ever, Rust. Or you might be thinking, what the hell kind of name is Soap? There's so many iconic moments from the Modern Warfare series. This video would not do it justice, but I want to talk about this fantastic series that we have played on the channel. So welcome back to episode 2 of I Love Video Games. So I played Modern Warfare, and obviously we're going to be talking about the whole trilogy. I'm not just going to make 3 separate videos about this, basically the same game, the same trilogy, the same series. We're going to put all of them into one little fantastic, nice slice of cake video.
MDO, the home of casual gaming.
We're going to be talking about 3 different categories. It's going to be the villains, the characters, and then basically missions and locations and all that other stuff, atmosphere and stuff like that. It's going to be a much more freestyle. I have a script for this to keep me on track, but I'm going to freestyle this one mainly because there's so much to talk about. If I were to create a dedicated script, it would probably be 4 hours long, maybe even longer, depending on what we're going to talk about. But let's talk about the villains.
سندمر الروح كما يدمرون.
Iconic right here, in the worst way possible, but such a great game for just doing this. The Desert Eagle. Now the villains in this series are no joke. They're no joke. Like, I guarantee you that a lot of them were the first for many. And what I mean by the first for many is the first for a mission that took you out of the normal means of gaming you ever experienced. For example, No Russian. Makarov takes you out into that whole situation. You never experienced a situation like that, at least for me, at least. When I first started playing video games, it was much more calmer, much more, even for things out there, I never really experienced it. No Russian was the first crazy mission I ever experienced with all the crazy just outcome of that whole mission. Like, World War III started because of that mission, which is actually absurd. No Russian was definitely the more crazier aspect, and obviously you know how that played out back then with the whole No Russian thing and stuff like that. But Makarov was definitely one of the crazier villains out there, even though I think he was much more of a standpoint of like, okay, we got to reach that point, and then when we reach there, we take them down, and boom, that's it. Even though he played a bigger part all throughout the whole series, I think the best villain in the whole Modern Warfare series, Shepard. Even though there's the other one, like for example, they had that Middle East leader, I forgot, from the first Modern Warfare, the puppet villain, that's what I like to call him, for Zakhaev. Zakhaev is also a good villain. Zakhaev is definitely much more out there when it comes to his power. I think he was definitely much more powerful. So how do you put these villains into a category that describes the experiences I went through and many others? The Middle East leader, right? The Middle East leader, I forgot his name. He was definitely much more of a weaker villain. I think most people didn't really see him as a villain. They saw him more as a standpoint, as someone who's just to take down, who's someone who's in front of you, you just got to take down, right? Shoot down, whatever you want to call it, right? But that puppet villain gave us one of the best interactions in terms of point of view of a invasion in the Middle East. Let me see it. Oh, hell yeah. The Marines. The U.S. Army Rangers are the Modern Warfare 2. These are the Marines. Man, it's such a shame we didn't get to play as like Air Force or maybe I don't remember, but we should have played more of a campaign of the different branches of the U.S. military, or even a different type of military, like the Royal, the SAS. But you know, we are playing them, but they're a little bit more special forces. I mean, like more like boots on the ground. Would have been cool to play as some different countries' soldiers. Look at this guy. Freaking, oh my, I freaking love this mission. This mission right here is amazing. Not only that, the usage of these modern weapons. You see how I did there? Modern Warfare, modern weapons. But the nuke went off during his campaign, that puppet villain's campaign. The Marine story happened there. Absolutely amazing. And not only that, it sets up another villain, Shepard. Let's talk about Shepard. Shepard is by far my favorite villain in the whole trilogy, just for the simple fact that I think he's the best villain. We interact with Shepard. Shepard he comes off as more of this war hero, this general, this vet who knows what he's doing. You trust him, and even if you don't trust him, you respect him to a certain degree because you think he's on your side. And then obviously we have the crazy interaction with Ghost, Roach, and him betraying us.
Come on! Roger, I'm
Get
on
up!
it. Going around, heading
Get up,
to
get up!
50.
We're almost there!
Roger, I got him lined up. Gold Eagle's on the ground. Watch for snipers on thermal.
Gold Eagle.
You have the DSM.
We got it, sir!
Good. That's one less loose end.
Damn, Shepard. Why you do that to me? Shadow Company. These guys are actually Shadow Company. So Shadow Company did play as a big role in the... Well, they did, but they didn't play like a big story, like cinematic role in the OG ones. Damn, Ghost is dead. Straight betrayal.
Shepard! I say again, do not trust Shepard! So, get down!
Down. Shepard, why you do this to us? Wow. Just like that, we die. Goodbye, Roach. You're a great playable character. For a lot of people, that was their first ever betrayal, and it was definitely my first ever betrayal. Like, I was so shocked, so surprised. It gets to a point where you think Shepard is like some straight up badass, and you're like, oh yeah, I got this general on my side. He's talking about how we can't give you freedom, but we can give you the know-how to get freedom or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, that's hype. Like, that's fire. I don't know. What are you talking about? That's fire. And then he betrays you.
This is a time for heroes, a time for legends. History is written by the victors. Let's get to work.
Shepard in the OG is so much better than the new Shepard, man. So much better. But after playing Modern Warfare 2 a bunch of times, you kind of see some of the foreshadowing that Shepard, the story showcases for Shepard. So that's also pretty cool. I like that a lot. I like the build up. I like the understanding. I like the interactions with Shepard. Makarov, obviously Makarov was the big villain at the end of the day, but I still think Shepard was just so much better. Shepard was that type of villain where it was like the just you hate him. You hate him for all what he did to you, the betray, killed ghosts, all that stuff. But still really cool. I do like Shepard overall. I like Shepard out of all the villains. Zarkayev was pretty cool too. I don't think he was as good as Shepard. I think he was a little bit better than Makarov, but he still falls in that category with Makarov. But like how it was more like a standpoint because Makarov doesn't interact directly, not enough in my opinion. But Zarkayev does something a little bit more different. Flashbacks. Price and Zarkayev have like a personal vendetta, and that's kind of cool. I think a lot of military games and stuff like that should have more personal vendettas, even though the vendetta was definitely a weaker one for say. But overall, I think it was really cool. But I think what I like about Zarkayev a little bit more is that he was definitely much more powerful. Like he felt more like a traditional villain, where a military villain, where you're like, okay, it's one war and there's two sides, and you're trying to take out Zarkayev. He also gives us all the crazy character interactions with the Marines, the SAS, the Americans, the ultra nationalists and the loyalists. There's a lot of things connecting to Zarkayev, and obviously Yuri and Makarov. So I think Zarkayev is definitely a good foundation for the villains. So it'll go like Zarkayev is a good foundation, and then all the other villains kind of connect in, because Zarkayev was also connected to the nuclear blast. So Zarkayev is like kind of like the foundations, and then you have all the other villains, and then Shepard was kind of like the icing on the cake, like the good part, but not the needed part, not the one that makes the story, you know what I mean? But I'd still think Shepard is the best villain. Zarkayev was definitely number 2 for me. Like I said, what I like about Zarkayev is that he was just incredibly strong. When you're going through the campaigns, when you're experiencing the whole story, you just feel Zarkayev is just incredibly powerful. Even towards the end, like, you don't really beat him towards the end. You just get lucky that Kamarov comes save you and stuff like that. If Kamarov wasn't there, if he never got the message, if he was just like, oh, no, these suckers don't, let's take these suckers out, whatever, whatever is going on, right? When you look at it realistically, yeah, Kamarov going over there is probably the best. He could take off Zarkayev, get the advantage and stuff like that too. But I think overall, Zarkayev was so strong that we barely just scraped one over. Not like Shepard. Shepard was like, Shepard was strong, but he had chinks in the armor. He had weaknesses that Price and Soap took advantage of. Not only that, it did come down to the wire, but unlike the Zarkayev one, I think Zarkayev just, how I would describe it, like he just like straight up didn't be like a rat, like a snake. You know what I mean? Like Shepard was a snake and a rat. So it was much more different. It felt more like a traditional battle, a traditional like strong warrior battle. Like, okay, I'm gonna take you down, whatever. I'm gonna give it all my strength, everything we can, sacrifice people if need be. But Shepard was like, yeah, you do that towards the end, but Shepard was like just straight up just like betrayed. But that also connects to many of the different characters. The good guys, the bad guys, but also just simply the intermediates between all these characters. And what I mean by that is just the characters in the Modern Warfare series are just by far one of my favorites in terms of overall synergy and unison in terms of gameplay, interactions, story. My favorite character is Yuri. Yuri's connected to all those villains in an indirect way or a direct way. Yuri is by far my favorite because he's just simply there to get action. Whether he was for the bad guys, for the ultranationalists, for Task Force 141, for the last chase for Makarov.
You sure this armor will protect us?
It'll buy us time. Nikolai, are you patched into the system? Working on it. My Arabic's a little rusty.
Yuri?
Looks like they know we're here.
I've tapped into their security feed. Makarov's in the atrium on the top floor. This is it. Makarov doesn't leave here alive. Get ready. This is for Soap.
Hell yeah, for Soap.
We've got their attention. Second wave of responders will be coming in any moment.
Their price. Uh-oh.
Leave me. Don't let him get away. Makarov's heading to the roof.
Let's go. We gotta get him for everybody. Or, you know, getting hit by a freaking predator missile, drone, or whatever, and falling off a cliff, sliding down a cliff, and falling into a river. There's so many interactions with these characters. Obviously, we have to go back to the iconic Soap. Soap is the GOAT. Captain McTavish breaking into that prison, the gulag, to get Price. And then Shepard almost blowing up the freaking whole squad, Task Force 141. Obviously, Ghost, Roach, Ramirez, all these amazing people. Foley, man, that White House, charging into the White House in Modern Warfare 2 with Foley and the rest of the gang and just the U.S. Army Rangers faction, just insanely cool. I think people underestimate how far something cliche can actually go. I think everyone says, oh, it's cliche, it's always like whatever, but I think when it's done right and correctly in terms of the point of view, because how you see it is that when we were charging into the White House, when the Capitol was getting attacked, all this stuff was happening, we didn't get to play as Price or Roach or something. We got to play as Ramirez, I believe it was Ramirez. Yes, I believe it was. But we got to play as a U.S. Army Ranger, not like special forces like Delta Force or something like that. We were boots on the ground, which means we got to see everything. And then obviously they had to cut voice lines during the whole Washington Monument, basically like evacuation and stuff like that. Man, that voice lines are absolutely absurd. Actually absurd. I think the biggest thing is just that there's a mix of main character energy for all different types of levels. What I mean by that is that our protagonist is like a superhero. Don't get me wrong, our protagonist is a superhero, but there's different levels to it. I think the U.S. Army Rangers and the Marines was definitely much more grounded. It definitely felt much more real, in my opinion. Even though it's all fiction and all crazy at the end of the day, I do like the more grounded approach. I wish they stuck with that a little bit more, honestly, because the more grounded approach was definitely my preferred style in terms of the game. U.S. Army Rangers, the Marines, absolutely amazing. Obviously, the SAS was definitely cool. Task Force 141 was also pretty cool. But I don't know. Something about the Special Forces definitely turns me off just a tad bit, just for a simple reason. Well, I'm doing some crazy interactions. Don't get me wrong. I think it's cool to have that. But I rather have boots on the ground, actually experience things, because the more iconic moments in the game, the trilogy for me, was the nuke blast, the just war pig, just going through the city and trying to protect the tank, escort the tank. That was just, it's different. And then I think at the end of the day, just simply being more boots on the ground, just simply a regular soldier or whatever, private, whatever it is, fighting in freaking what was it called? Burger Town. Yeah, Burger Town was just like predator missiles going off, sentry guns, snipes, thermals, all you can think of was involved. I just simply like the boots on the ground a little bit more. I wonder what you guys think about it too. Do you guys like the boots on the ground or the more special forces way? I like both, but I like the boots on the ground a little bit more. The regular soldier type of POV gameplay. But if I had to describe the characters in one singular, like the characters, the factions, the atmosphere, the point of views of it, I would say the characters make the game what it is. If there was no Soap, none of the villains would be cool. Yuri is also pretty cool. Price, obviously. Price is the big dog. Shepard, big dog. Like, the characters make the story so much greater than it actually is. The villains were pretty good. Like, you know, Shepard, I like Shepard. He was pretty good, but I think the protagonists, the good guys, make it so much better. Briggs, man, Foley, Dunn, Corporal Dunn was definitely a good comic of relief too. Like he was pretty good, man. Oh, let me out.
What the hell's going on? Get off the street now! No! This isn't good, man!
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Don't stop! Keep moving!
Oh! Helicopters are raining down. What? What? Oh my goodness. Come on, done. Done. Good. Come on, man. We gotta get the frick out of here, man. Oh my goodness, a tire. Damn. Damn.
What the hell are we gonna do now, man? Russian guns outnumbered, shit's falling from the sky. We're screwed, man. We're totally hooped.
Get it, Pip Corporal. Our weapons still work, which means we can still kick some ass, what?
I need a better sight, though. I have no sight. George Washington? You can't beat these characters. I think they have a mix of just different archetypes that just have a good... and it has good interactions with the story in terms of pacing and just contrast compared to the villains. The villains seem more like just typical villains, more like mellowed villains, just more like, okay, we're the bad guys and stuff like that. Like even with like Makarov, they have that iconic meme or whatever that people took is like he doesn't care about money. He only trades blood for money or something like that. But when you have a character that's like that, yeah, it's cool, but it's kind of hard to meet the expectations of the other characters on the other side. What I mean by that is the good guys. Like Price is a vet. He wants to get it done. He's been chasing Makarov for a long time. Yuri has a vendetta against Makarov. Soap was really just there for his peoples, his crew, the task force 141, and he has a good trust level. He trusts Yuri, he trusts Shepard, he trusts all these people, and yet he gets betrayed. Yuri was definitely a much more weaker betrayal, but at the end of the day, still trusted him. And then you got all the other characters that also play a big part. Gaz, for example. Gaz is definitely the more unique aspect of overall. What Gaz was like. Gaz was a weak character, but he had so many iconic moments. Switching to your pistol is faster than reloading. Knife the watermelon. But Gaz, I like Gaz. Gaz was cool. The OG Gaz was cool, but he was definitely much more weaker in terms of like the side characters. I think the best side character, if I had to say what was the best side character in terms of my experiences playing the game and just having a great time, best side character? That probably got to be Ghost, Corporal Dunn, Sandman. Sandman was pretty cool. I like Sandman. Sandman was definitely a much more traditional Delta Force, like, well, basically he was definitely like more of a Foley type of action rather than Price. And I think I like that a little bit more because Foley was definitely more grounded, you know what I mean? He wasn't like Captain Price, even though he was a vet, but he wasn't like Captain Price. You know how Captain Price is like, you know, he kind of knows what he's doing. He never really like fails to meet the expectations of like, oh, he never shows emotion, like, okay, this is going bad. Even when it is, he's still showing like some heart and some control. Like, for example, before the mission starts with to go get Shepard, to kill Shepard, he's giving this monologue, he's giving this crazy dialogue, this speech and stuff like that. And Sandman, he does do that a little bit, but Sandman is definitely much more grounded. He's down with you. Even when you go to the gas attack in Germany, he's just, or Europe, or I think it was Germany, but in Europe or something like that, or it was like France or something like that. I'm not too sure. But yeah, when you go to Europe, when you landed in the gas attack, you could tell he's experiencing like the emotions of it. Don't get me wrong, Price has those emotions, but he doesn't show it as much as Sandman. So I think Sandman is definitely much more grounded. And all of this is just coming from a point of view standpoint. I think it just makes the story 10 times more enjoyable. And the fact that I'm freestyling it right now without any like full script, without having anything in front of me to like review information, these characters are memorable. Not only that, it goes to show the different point of views you will experience by playing these games or have already experienced. Like this game, this trilogy is fantastic. Fantastic. All right, the last part is just awesome moments. Obviously, we got to talk about the assassination of Zakhaev. Shot his arm off. That was cool. And then he got like just one arm missing. He looked freaking cool as frick. But, you know, that was pretty cool. With Macmillan, and then he like tripped over, got his leg, you know, sprained his leg or broke his leg or something like that. And all Gilly Up was definitely a crazy mission. Radiation, stealth, and they're simply letting the whole battalion walk past you and stuff like that with the tanks and stuff like that. And then you go under the cars. Such a great mission. Another mission was like Modern Warfare 3. I like that one mission where it was like the resistance, where you're with Soap and you're sneaking through the freaking area again. That was also a pretty cool mission. And then Price and Kamarov was like on the roof and they start shooting flares and the resistance starts fighting back. That was a cool mission. Another mission is that's obviously down the rabbit hole, Sandman and stuff like that. Go save the president. That was like the joint task force. You got Yuri, Sandman, Truck, Grinch, Price. They all went down to save the president, and then obviously they did the heroic play, the sacrifice play. That was pretty cool. I like that. Another iconic moment for me is just simply like when the building got dropped on us. The building got dropped on us. It's like they dropped the freaking building on us, Sandman. That was pretty cool. I also like that mission where like they realized the other squad got blown up, so they're like, okay, we gotta go get Athena, which is the Russian president's daughter. And when they zip line down that plane or drone or warhog passes us, and then the music starts playing too. That's such an iconic. I still remember that to this day. Like, it's such an iconic scene. The first Modern Warfare, obviously, you got the smaller moments. For example, the smaller moments with the Marines, escorting, and just simply the different interactions, the different fighting, the javelin on the bridge, taking out the tanks, all that stuff. And then you got the war pig, and then you got all these different things. But just simply the helicopters, I like the use of aircrafts during the during the Marine invasion. They used a lot of aircrafts. It felt smooth. It felt good transitions, and obviously different weapons. There was, for example, the grenade launcher on one of the helicopters, one of the carrier, or not the carriers. I think it was like, what are those called? I forgot what they're called, but there are a lot of cool interactions with the Marines. Obviously, the biggest one is the nuke. No pun intended. The nuke was humongous. Such a great moment right there. Overall, I think a lot of the different locations. I know there's a lot more locations. Well, for the first Modern Warfare, the first mission, the first real mission, when you're going onto the boat and stuff like that, that whole mission is iconic. That whole mission is just super satisfying, super cool to play through. And I still remember my first time experiencing it. Such a memorable moment. Like, I'm gonna remember that for the rest of my life. And when it comes down to the simple understanding of this game, I think Modern Warfare Trilogy is one of the best series in terms of just simply FPS story driven games. The campaign, which is fantastic. The side arcs in the campaigns, fantastic. The villains can use some work, but overall, I think it was just simply good. Call of Duty back then was just a whole different beast, stronger beast, greater in every aspect. Black Ops, for example, Black Ops was incredibly cool. We will play Black Ops and talk about Black Ops in the future as well. But Black Ops, the original Black Ops trilogy, not trilogy, I'll say the original Black Ops. I'll say, like, yeah, that's why I always put Modern Warfare over Black Ops, because I think the real Black Ops I like is probably only Black Ops 1. Black Ops 2 was good in terms of the story, but Black Ops 2 was good. I'll give it a passing rating. Like, Black Ops 2 campaign wasn't bad, but it's definitely very futuristic for my liking. But overall, I think Black Ops 1 was just a fantastic game as well. We will talk about Black Ops 1 later down the line, or the trilogy if I play the trilogy. But Modern Warfare Trilogy will always be better than Black Ops, for the simple fact that I think Black Ops overall, the first Black Ops was a fantastic game. I think it was probably better than all the Modern Warfare, but the Modern Warfare Trilogy, the OG one, versus the OG Black Ops Trilogy, Modern Warfare was just so much better. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys just have any comments about the Modern Warfare Trilogy and just simply how good it is, I know I missed a lot of spots, a lot of things to talk about. I was just simply freestyling on it, honestly. What I love about the Modern Warfare trilogies is obviously the characters. I talked about the characters for 20 minutes straight. Like, the characters for me is what makes it really, really good. Obviously, the missions and stuff like that is also pretty cool. The one I forgot to talk about was the Alpha Tower when it fell over. That was pretty cool as well. But there's so much more to the game that I did not talk about. And even if I were to make an 8-hour video, I probably still wouldn't do it justice. That's just how good the series is. And obviously, people who have played this series probably know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't played the series, even in the big 2026, highly recommend it. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you have a fantastic day, night, or whatever it is. Bye bye.